Last episode of Sailing One Life, we alternated our time from working in the boatyard on projects to drinking rum with our friends from Grenada. We did more boat work and a steep hike before getting One Life back in the water and on the move again.
Hi, we're Brooke and Gary.
A year ago, we traded the American dream for our dream.
Welcome to One Life. With the boat back in the water, Gary dove in while I put the boat in and out of gear so he could check the prop, strut, shaft, and engine alignment were all working together properly. Everything looked as it should, so we motored our way 10 miles to Woburn Bay, where our friends were anchored. We made it just in time to do a little dinghy surfing before sunset. It felt so good to be back on our floating home. This bay was packed full of sailboats and full of activity.
It's a lot longer than last time. Don't sink the board, baby.
Now I'm tired.
He needs a 5-minute break.
Right, we're much further forward.
He's giving you all bad advice. Oh.
The next day, we did a full provisioning run. Grocery runs are a full day of work. We find transportation to the store, fill our carts, then grab a ride back to the dock, dinghy to the boat, unload onto the boat, then unload into the boat. And finally, we sort it and put everything away. We definitely earned a cocktail after this. Our Grenada friends wanted to go sailing, so Gary picked them up at the marina, and of course, they brought rum.
We're on the way out there. We're heading with our friends, man. On a yacht day. Hello. Welcome aboard. So we're moving with the wind then?
We're sailing today.
Okay, good.
We were so stoked to have them aboard One Life.
Yeah, we're out here on One Life.
It was time to do some sailing. We were averaging about 7 knots and the wind was perfect. Although sailing and diving is wonderful, the highlight of this adventure for me is sharing this experience with the wonderful people we meet along the way. The guys wanted to do some fishing, so we put out a couple lines, and before we knew it, bam, we got a double header. Gary reeled in one, while Arnold reeled in the other. We landed 2 barracuda and our friend Fish dehooked them both and threw them on ice. We put the lines back out and continued on our way. Despite Rebel feeling a bit seasick, we were having a riot.
Oh, again? Every time we catch a fish, you're like a good luck charm, dude.
Before we knew it, we got another bite.
Kingfish, right? Yeah, kingfish. We taking bets? What do you think, Brooke?
Mahi.
Mahi?
Yeah.
Mahi.
A little yellowfin tuna for the win. There was so much vibrant energy on One Life. This was seriously the best day. When we got back to the anchorage, we opened the rum while the boys filleted the fish, and per their request, we had lasagna for dinner. We never stay in one place for too long, so we set sail for the next island. Along the way, we passed an underwater sculpture park, so Gary jumped in to check it out. Unfortunately, my ear was bothering me, so I sailed around until he was ready for pickup. Later that day, we arrived in Ronde Island. This island is completely uninhabited and is not visited by many boaters, as the anchorage is known to be a bit rolly. Despite the uncomfortable roll, these are the spots we search for, isolated and off the grid. We spent the next couple days exploring everything above and below these rock formations. The underwater life here was spectacular and untouched. The caves and curvature around these rocks was amazing, but the current blasting through them was nothing to joke around with. As we made it back to the boat, our friends on SV Pacific High pulled in. We are always meeting new friends, but always saying goodbye and heading in different directions. So when you happen to cross paths again, it's pure excitement. We found this really great spot. Gary is diving right now for some lionfish. That is an invasive species, so we're trying to kill as many as we can. They're pretty big compared to the ones that we normally see in Florida. Despite the venomous spines, these fish are delicious. That night, we made lionfish ceviche, built a fire on the beach, and chatted under the stars with both new and old friends.
We just pulled up anchor here at Rondae Island. We spent the last 5 or 6 days here. Did a lot of diving, snorkeling, slayed a lot of lionfish, and pretty much just relaxed away from civilization for a while.
Well, we were motoring to Carriacou, which is over there, but then I saw a really nice weed line over here, so I turned just to troll this weed line.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we're the only sailboat that changes their course just to troll a weed line.
Nothing yet, but we'll see.
After trolling this weed line for an hour with no bites, I decided to jump in and see if there were any fish under it. Disappointingly, all I found was trash. Another eye-opening moment to see all this plastic floating around in the middle of nowhere. It certainly changes your outlook on single-use plastics. We made it to Carriacou, the sister island of Grenada. We heard there was a hike to the highest peak from the nearby beach, so we met up with our friend Laura to check it out. We hiked for at least an hour before finding the turtles that marked the trail. It is the turtle, what we've been missing. Oh well, getting lost was worth the spectacular view from the top. How long have we been hiking for now, you guys?
Well, we're just on the trail now, so we just started.
From this peak, you can see 360 degrees around Carriacou. We hiked back to the beach and took a little dip to cool off before heading back home. We heard there was crystal clear water at Petite Martinique, so of course we headed there to check it out. The water was turquoise here, and the beach was covered in fine white sand. We didn't find any lobster, but we did happen to find a couple nurse sharks and a sleeping stingray. The following day, we hiked to the top of Petite Martinique. It was hot as hell, but with a few water breaks, it only took us 3 hours to get to the top.
So, we're at the top of Petite Martinique, and it is stunning. It was a hell of a hike to get up here. We walked by that little house down there on the way up.
Our boat is right down there. Absolutely incredible view. Cheers! Follow our journey next time as we sail to a new country.